Hello friends and welcome to a very exciting video, actually, this one. So this feels like it's been years in the making, but myself and my friends back home in Ireland, we've always had this idea of like doing all this video game stuff, and we did for years on our old website Citizen Game before I kind of got scooped up by GameSpot, and then we all sort of fell off that site. And especially, I think, since I moved to England and I moved to America, I've always wanted to do something that sort of connected us up a little bit more, because we're so far away in different time zones, and it's hard to keep up. And obviously, we want to like keep in touch and engage in each other's lives the whole time. So we had this idea for this podcast, which we were spinning around loads. And then last year, we kind of maybe almost launched it, and we were going to call it Intercontinental Champions, and then life stuff got in the way. But now I'm in a really strong position to be able to put this stuff up, and also there's the sort of will from all of our friends to get this done. So we're going to start a new podcast. Myself, my friend Dennis Walsh, who anyone who knows any of my old stuff from Citizen Game will be very familiar with Dennis. We worked on tons and tons and tons of stuff. And our friend James O'Connor. Dennis is in Dublin and James is in LA. He works in Hollywood doing lighting and God knows what else, getting himself in trouble. The three of us are going to do a podcast, which is basically... it's about video games, and originally it wasn't necessarily going to be about video games. We had all these ideas of like, you know, friends who are far away and looking at other topics and looking at different types of pop culture or looking at whatever the fuck. It was basically just an excuse for us to kind of like talk every week or two. But Dennis came up with this idea, which he learned from another podcast, a comic book podcast, and we sort of have expanded it a little bit. And it's basically the concept of creating a chronological or compiling a chronological list of every game ever from good to bad, starting from 0 and inserting 1 and inserting 2 and inserting 3, and maybe doing like 10 a week, or maybe 5 a week, or maybe 1 a week if it's a particularly big game, or maybe 20 one week because we just get submitted a bunch of shitlords. And that's kind of where you come in, is that like this is totally based on what feedback we get. So we're gonna basically put out a call for you guys to submit 3 games, and in this time we're gonna set up an email address, but for this one I want you to put it in the YouTube comments. 3 games, any 3 games. It could be 3 horror games, 3 action games, 3 really good games, 3 really bad games, 3 like just like middle of the road, like Wheelman and The Club, although I know Dennis will go to the bat go to bat for The Club. Any, like, the more obscure the better, and the sort of the weirder the better. And if you can split it up by any sort of way. You can give us a good one, a bad one, and a sort of one in the middle, or go completely crazy and do some other game that we probably haven't played. And we have a bunch of like mechanics to feed into this as well. So we have this like reverse statute of limitations thing, where after a year, if somebody's not happy that like Half-Life 2 is at number 15, it goes into basically like a parole board, and we will look at that again a year later from the time it got on the list. We also have like a gaming purgatory, which kind of is for any games that like the three of us haven't really played enough of, and we don't really feel like we have the knowledge to stick it in our super objective list. And with that, we're going to do like let's plays and videos and whatnot on all of our channels. But this podcast, it's going to be on iTunes, it's going to be on all the audio stuff. We're going to restrict it to about an hour every week. We're probably going to record them in bunches as well. But we're also going to put up a video version of our sort of Skype conversation. And we've done some testing, so right now it kind of feels video-wise, looks good and sounds good as well. And the name we're giving this, naming is the worst thing ever. I mean, you're talking to the people who made up the gaming website named Citizen Game, for God's sake. We have to give a shout out to Ben Franklin, also known as Shiny Llama on Twitter, who came up with, I think almost jokingly, he submitted this because he was just rounding off the end of an REM song, but we're calling it.
And this last one is a tournament of lies. I said a tournament 3 times, but without the 3 times part, just a tournament of lies is really great. That's such a catchy name. That's so catchy.
I actually love Tournament of Lies. I actually love that one.
I think it just works. It could work for anything.
It is basically a tournament style bracket we're creating, and it's going to be absolutely full of treacherous lies. So it's going to be a good load of fun. I think the list itself we're going to build out, and obviously it's going to be public. We'll have a website up with like all of that stuff on it, so people can sort of see which episode it was, and we might break up the conversations on YouTube maybe per game. We're going to kind of just run with it. But what we need for you guys right now, give us 3 games. We might get to all of them. We're going to have like this master sheet. We're going to fit in as many as we can in an hour. Give us 3 games, 3 good games, bad games, middle games, horror games, sports games. Give us like FIFA 11, 12, and 13. Like, just think of the weirdest submissions you could possibly give, and maybe give us some easy ones too. And yeah, we're going to pull them out of a hat randomly one by one and see what we have. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the number 1 game on our list is, which will also be the worst game on the list as well. So thank you so much. This is really exciting. Can't wait to do this because myself, Dennis, and James, like, they're my best buds who I never get to see. So we've got some other friends as well who might get involved as well. We might get guests in, we might do all that sort of stuff, and it's going to be loads of fun. So thank you so much for watching this, and please submit your 3 games. I can't wait to see what comes up in the comments. Thanks very much.